What is mean by solid modeling? Solid modeling is basically a method in computer aided design that is used to create detailed three-dimensional representations of physical objects, of real world objects. In the term solid modeling, the word solid basically defines the both internal and external properties of a 3D model. External properties includes the surface properties, surface material, surface condition, surface texture, whereas internal properties includes the volume of that model, the mass and density of that model. Whereas solid models are used in almost all the fields, including engineering at the topmost level, manufacturing, architecture, visualization, designing, animations, and on the top of this, you can simulate each and every real world objects. So here are few techniques that represents or the kind of solid modelings basically. Number one is constructive solid geometry. It combines basically the primitive shapes that are cubes, spheres, and cylinders. Like in 2D modeling, if you talk about 2D modeling, the primitive shapes are line, circles, rectangles, triangles, or any kind of a polygon. Similarly, in 3D modeling, the primitive shapes include the cubes, spheres, and cylinders, whereas those primitive shapes are further used Boolean operations in order to create complex object, where Boolean operations are union, intersections, and subtraction. Second one is the boundary representation, as the name indicating. This is something including or related to the surface, the outer surface. So basically, it defines an object by its bounding surfaces, which includes the vertices, edges, and faces. We have already discussed about the solid features, solid object features in our previous video, that what does these vertices, edges, and faces and limiting elements basically indicates. Last but not the least is the hybrid modeling. Hybrid modeling combines the elements of both CSG, that is constructive solid geometry, and BREP, that is boundary representation, for greater flexibility. In almost most of the cases, we go for hybrid modeling. Specifically, if you talk about the real world objects, it is very much necessary to define both boundary conditions and the solid modeling, the internal properties of the material in order to create a complex object. Like, for instance, if I give you a little example related to any biomedical device or any biomaterial which is supposed to be inserted or which is supposed to become in contact with human body, that material, that device should be simulate in real world conditions that basically relate or represents the human internal body functions. And in that scenario, the material should be biocompatible in nature, that the surface of that material is going to be in direct contact with human body. So the function of that material is very much important to be well designed in terms of both its surface properties and internal properties. So these are a few techniques of solid modeling or 3D solid modeling.